everybody. Welcome back. Thanks for tuning in. Another episode. That's fine. We won't even say it. I'm not even going to try one more time. Welcome. Thanks for joining again. Happy to be here. And we're in the middle of a special day today. I mean, I think tomorrow, it's like only 2-day holiday, if you ask me. Pre-New Year's. Anyway, just so happens to fall on today, Thursday, the day I'm recording, that is. But no big deal. Let's not make too big of beans about it, because I've got more to get into rather than just celebrations for, I suppose a holiday, you pick it up as soon as you've confirmed that you got people to spend it with. No? I mean, New Year's is like a friend's holiday, right? So I'm not all that stoked about it. I mean, just another day. I think it's a good time to reflect back on what you've accomplished this year. And we're in that, meme year. Full of memes is what I mean. You know what I meant. And so it's supposed to be nice and awful, but for me it was something different. Yeah, to some extent, you gotta, while you're in the moment, you gotta at least kind of, you have to be able to accept changes. That's what makes you a human being / animal. How do you say, dominant species? So I'm stoked about that. Gosh, if you could see my awkward body language or whatever, it's because I set the camera back up to, I think, what is probably its original height. And so if you go back to my first episodes, then you have me sitting up in a nice sort of weird neutral position staring at the camera. I think my chin is what we're solving here. It resolves the showing too much neck chin issue, which is, again, not one of my strong features. So happy to be here. Happy day, whatever day it is you may be watching this. Probably just as importantly or more importantly. And I hope you had some time to reflect back on your last year, depending, let's just say, take the last 365 days from the day you're watching this. And if you want, you can make new changes tomorrow. I'm not huge on announcing changes. I think it does. Well, it's like after you've committed to changing on some level, then you tell your friends, and then maybe the next time you commit to some changes, you try not telling your friends. I've certainly been talking about making changes in front of you guys. Look at that. So you're not even one person. You're like a multiple. It's like I'm talking to a bunch of plants. Anyway, so overall, hope you're having a good day today and day tomorrow. What is on the first order of business today? I don't want to go through my notes, and I'm doing the armpit challenge again this week, so we'll see what it looks like after I'm all done here. If I remember, that is. Hopefully I just forget, but I wore a white shirt, so I have good intentions. Speaking of forgetting, in a monumental moment, I'm going to go back more than a couple episodes and address one ironic, what looks like a mistake on my part, but that is just that I showed you my notes after saying that I didn't cover something in my notes. I showed you a note that on the very top it looked like I'd covered it. So if you saw it, it's just as important as if you missed it, but essentially to define what I said in my sentence was that I had migrated something, and then I showed you, said, oops, I didn't mean to talk about this new subject, and I showed you what I had written down, and it said migrate on the top, migration. And that was addressing that migration. I had actually, it had crossed in my brain after I had written it down, to meaning that I was talking about migrating that horse that I had painted up next to on top of the heater there, up next to that ornament, which we haven't talked about yet either. Not sure if I want to get into that necessarily, but we did address him last week, so maybe it'd be a good time. The two cowboys that are getting a little close on bright display, sort of a whatever that Ang Lee movie was, cowboy love film, Brokeback Mountain style ornament up there is a gift from him, an old friend. I would say old friend just because we haven't talked in a while, but relationships are just as on as they are off at all times, aren't they? Right? I mean, can certainly agree with that. You don't necessarily talk to the people that you grew up with, but you can if you want to, I suppose, if there's something that is very important that comes up, right? Don't have to give you any examples, right? Okay. So, so there you go, covering stuff from way back in the day. Promise not to ever do it again. I feel like I forced that wink there, but I made the sound. So for those who are only listening to audio, I got to upload all this stuff as I want to eventually jump on the algorithm or whatever. And maybe that'll help, I don't know. Speaking of podcast stuff, or more like studio related stuff, a couple of things. Would love to get into finding what is, how do you say, like doodles and knickknack podcast software, so I can make doodles and knickknacks show up on the screen and stuff. It just looks fun and it looks mass media. And I think for the most part I'm trying not to go for it, but I'd like to try it, which is an awkward attempt at trying something, because if I don't like it, all of a sudden it's not there. But maybe as we get more big budget, I could, my point is, I don't know what podcast software is, and I was stumbling across something called like OHS or OT something, and that is Twitch software, and I don't think that that's quite the same thing. So if you know any podcast software, reach out. Wait, who am I talking to? I'm talking to no subscriber, one subscriber, one mysterious subscriber, by the way. And on that, just to cover that in, let's say, 1.5 sentences, I can't see my subscriber because either they don't want me to see them or it's been older than 28 days. So I'll never know quite who my subscriber is. And I had looked it up. I just hadn't gone deep enough, but I did some Googling this week and found out that I can't find out. Interesting stuff. And last thing on the studio, I said interesting stuff a little bit sarcastically there. But the last thing studio related is, I'm not sure about the lighting, just put in some supposedly 50 watt more lumens per bulb, light bulbs, LEDs in my room up here. And not sure how much they're actually doing, or if the more the bigger corporations get more lumen status by 50, by half of 100 per bulb, because they're more giant, treated more you know what I'm saying. All right, already almost 10 minutes in and haven't gotten anywhere. Let's, what do we want to cover? Last week, just warming up here, last week I mentioned something interesting about, that maybe we can get more in detailed about, and I did a tiny bit of jamming out this week before I turned on the camera. So hopefully I'm trying to hide it from you guys. In fact, I'm almost trying to hide it every single goddamn episode because I feel like yelling in a silent room it's not normal, right? So I try and keep uplifting. I try and keep myself uplifting. I try and keep my tone up there. I'm trying to hold my energy levels up there throughout these podcasts, which can sound a little probably as we get into it, and I can't wait to lean back on this one, but which can sound a little bit probably stale or monotonous or something, and hopefully one day I'm just a tiny bit more confident and I could lean back and just take those long pauses, just drop my tone. It also seems like if I'm not too loud, then the mic doesn't pick me up enough, or to some degree I would say barely at all. But there's always after podcast processing that I can do, and that certainly helps with that. Either way, we'll see what happens. Maybe the podcast software, the bells and whistles stuff, that's what I was trying to say. Maybe that stuff will help me just sort of sit there and be boring, which is a dream of mine. What else do we got? Oh, I wanted to mention about that comic stuff. I don't know if you're comic in the mother's womb or not. I thought about it a lot this week, and I haven't really come to anything to try and unscramble my thoughts and get into it now. Seems a little late. I'm not sure that you are what you always wanted to be from day one. I could tell you this. I have a little certainty. I'd like to just sound extremely confident and say it with ultimate, God damn it, struggling for words, man. Already, right? Say it with supreme conviction that when I was a little sperm, I was viciously trying to get to that egg. I would love to believe that much is true. Though I can't prove it, but maybe one day we will. Already 2 siblings, and I'm not saying you have ears when you're in your dad's balls, but I feel like we've done enough. I'm going to my notes, by the way. When I look down, should probably set my notes up like so that it looks like I'm looking at your chest in virtual world. And that would be sort of a natural direction that your eyes would head if you were thinking, right? As good as I can possibly do. It was a little bit more about living your, let's not bother, but it was as well, I kind of want to cover, let's try and handle it in half of a sentence. But living every day like it's your last is sort of on a barometer, right? And we're talking about this because it's about to be in New Year, or it's the New Year's here, right? Not really recording live. But you're on a sort of a scale when you pretend like you're living every day like it's your last. We're the only species that's, well, up to this point, proven that we know what the future holds. Even though maybe I beg to differ, and I would say that trickles all the way down through dolphins maybe, and other giant mammals in this ocean, killer whales, orcas, all the way down to dogs, our pets and stuff. I would tend to think that it is possible that maybe dogs have it as well. maybe cats and stuff. Let's call them an equal species. So I'm not sure, but you sort of live every day as if it's your last if you are determining, if you're also factoring, excuse me. And that is where I end that sentence because I said it was only going to be a half. I was intending for that sentence to be twice as long, but I cut it off right in the middle there. What else? Awkward moment of silence? Let's scoot on past that. I'm not sure I had much more for you guys. Today might be a short one because we covered everything in the last podcast from the last podcast. I'm not sure how much new content I have for everyone out there. Oh, I thought of something. Let me see if I can think of it. But there are some topics where you can address to the whole world, and it's actually easier than talking to friends. And I thought of something, and I didn't write it down. But I think maybe it was, yeah, I'm quite certain it was the one we just talked about. So that tops that off. Let's see, end of the podcast. We are something like 15 minutes in. I'm going to go to my notes and then I'll show you my armpits, the status of how much I'm sweating. Yeah, we touched on everything I wrote down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 items. And I feel like we did it so naturally that, I don't want to have a podcast that is subpar, but that I feel good about it. So I'm okay as long as I'm practicing sitting down every week and spouting somewhat off the cuff for you guys. It would kill me if I came up with something after shutting down here. That was what I originally meant when I thought of topics that you can more easily discuss with the public, but I think that's what it was. Chief, boss, senior out there, you guys are all my peers at least. What did I get myself for the holidays? I might as well share that with you. I bought them stupid bulbs. Let's see what happens. I can't wait to get to the color correction part in Final Cut Pro and just compare the raw footage, see which one was brighter. But overall, I'm pretty excited about how bright this one is off the get-go. Or excited, I should say optimistic. I bought myself a audio interface, which is nothing related to podcasting, but has to do with making music, and you could hear my intro up front there. That's gonna one day develop into a song. And oh yeah, last topic. Okay, well, I'm not sure how excited I should be to talk about this, but subscribers on my or followers, whatever the company wants to call them, I have like 2 or 3 followers, maybe 2 followers on my SoundCloud channel. Don't know. I'm still getting used to all the... it's a SoundCloud account. It's a SoundCloud profile. And to have a couple of people that are following and maybe a like or 2 or something is exciting. So I'm going to get into working a little bit more on music, on the music side as well. And we certainly have a lot of time. I can't believe I'm wasting it talking to you guys. Mostly just sleeping in and sitting around watching YouTube and doing things that aren't making music throughout the week. Kind of went to basketball. I don't know if that was 7 days ago or a little bit longer, but I'm arguing that it was this week because I still haven't put my basketball shoes away until I started setting up here. I still hadn't. But that was fun, and I'm very optimistic, and it is the far court. There are 2 out there. But I didn't go scanning, scoping around, and I just went to the one, and I'm excited about how things are going out there, even if the intensity is still ratcheting up. It's overall, without getting into stupid details or pretending like my life has any importance when it comes to the basketball court, it's going well. So excited about continuing going there without optioning or putting both courts up for option because they're probably a mile away from each other. And just sticking to my favorite, which looks the closest to an NBA court. Even though it's outdoors and, you know, one of the nets on one of them 3 hoops is torn and nobody has repaired it in more than a month. I still get one rim that is friggin' awesome, feels like 10 feet. And NBA class. You know, they've been putting these clipper backboards on all these public courts out here, which is fun and exciting. You gotta love them clippers. I mean, somebody in some Clippers organization agreed to it. So that's pretty cool of them to do that. I do like the Clippers arguably as much as I like them stupid Lakers. So especially after Kobe retired. So I don't know, guys. I hope that was enough. I gave you some insight on my boring usual week, but I remembered it. So it's easier to talk to the public about what you do throughout your week than it is to your friends. And that's your insight on me throughout the week. I didn't get to it, but I was thinking about taking my bike from outside in the alley. I was thinking about bringing it up into my room and then propping it up. And I wish there was something I could do about the chair squeaking, guys. I don't want to bring it up one more time, but I think you get the whole picture here. I don't even feel like I need to finish, but essentially, you have it all. You have it all. We'll just awkwardly end this one. And I also realized where I stole the awkward pause too. Craig Ferguson, one of my favorite late night show hosts. In fact, he might be my favorite. The only late night show that I went out and saw. And the only reason I went is because I had invited a girl to go and she snubbed me, ghosted me. I only have a tiny bit of fun using these modern terms. But so after no reply, and it was sort of a funny text I sent, meaning odd, I just decided to go by myself. So I went and saw him, and he does that, what would you prefer, sort of an optional ending to the interview. And that's where I stole my awkward moment of silence from. I didn't steal it per se. Is that how people talk? But it did come from deep in the barrels of my subconscious, and here I am cheating, using it. So maybe that's not a proper segment. Maybe I should always ask just how you guys are doing, and then in a moment of brief sincerity, I could just throw a little hesitation on there so you guys know even if I'm not directly listening, I intend to, or I would like to, if this were more than just me staring at silly equipment and pretending to chat with you. All right, guys. I hope this podcast was good enough. But yeah, let's wrap it up sooner rather than later because, you're busy as well. You are, right? So there you go. I didn't ask how you're doing, but I respect your time. Let's get out of here, okay? I'll see you next week. Have a good weekend. And toodles. We'll work hard on making it nice and exciting. Yeah, this is great because moving into your new year, it should be, if anything, it should be casual. I was going to say a little dip in your year, but that only applies to this year, 2020/2021. But it should be nice and casual. So we're just going easy. I didn't throw too much fun excitement out there. Probably because it's just what a new year should be. It should be a casual transition into, especially if we're by ourselves, a casual transition into the new, or older than like 30 years old, somewhere in your 30s there, as I am. Alrighty, guys. One more time, cheers. Love you. Thanks for checking it out. Like and subscribe. Engage, I should say, if you feel so inclined. I would love it. Alrighty. Peace.